developments which we are reading here from the Standard is that the court has seen it fair enough to them and to the public to allow Member of Parliament Aisha Jumwa to continue with her campaign for the Kilifi governor's seat, and this is going to allow her to amass more votes. So the thought process behind this is that let's allow her first of all to go and look for votes, amalize akue governor, achana hiyo mambo ya mada na nini hiyo mambo distractions. Let's amalize kwanza kutafuta votes, and then after we can pursue justice. What do you think?
Now, this is the hypocrisy that has dominated the political class. If Aisha Jumwa engaged in that murder activity, then in fact she should have been sentenced long time ago. But being regarded her status in the political playground, she cannot be. But if it was a normal Kenyan, he or she would have been jailed long time ago, even for a death sentence. But because she's a politician, she will be viewed in another space.
This is crazy, because if you look at the things they are considering, is one, that she's worried that her opponents will be using this case against her. So the court, and this is, I'm quoting this from the chief magistrate. Let me just say her name, Martha Mutuku. Chief Magistrate Martha Mutuku. This is her thought process. She's saying that she's giving her time to campaign for the governor's seat. And secondly, one of her lawyers, which is Cliff Ombeta, is vying for a political seat in the Bonchari parliamentary elections and will not be available for this hearing. So let's allow her lawyer and her as well to finish up with the politics so that they can come back and we discuss these matters after.
Now, I was adding to the political view. The court has granted Aisha Jumwa a space and enough environment to do her campaigns on the gubernatorial race, which is okay anyway. But we question the court. How do you, if you claim that Aisha Jumwa is a murderer, how do you give her a space in politics to practice leadership? Yet when you look at her character, it is questionable. Chapter 6 of the Constitution, leadership and integrity. If you have been accused of murder, where do you get the quality to vie for a gubernatorial race?
Right.
I think this is where the EACC and the other bodies and agencies are failing. Aisha Jumwa could have been told, you have been accused, you have violated the Constitution of Chapter 6, therefore retreat as we look at unto your matter.
Right.
But I said it depends with your class. Your class dictates if you will be forgiven or if you'll be taken to jail.
Right. Ni kuoga na kurudi soko.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what they're doing here in the political arena. And of course now, since we are in the coastal region, former Nairobi governor Mike Sonko is also back in the political scene, and he's doing this through the Wiper Party. He's trying to get that ticket to vie for Mombasa gubernatorial seat. How do we do this? Because this is a man who was impeached because of graft issues, and we are having a scenario over the country where people who have been accused previously of graft issues or other issues or impeached even, we're seeing that case in Kiambu County where the likes of Waititu are making a comeback, and many others who I will not be going into. Are we pointing? Are we supposed to be pointing our fingers to the courts or the bodies which are EACC, as you mentioned, or is it just normal for us here?
Now, there's a saying that goes that those who believe in populism, in politics, will die a slow but a sure death. The Mike Sonko, former Nairobi governor, has died politically. He is just trying to reclaim his space by going to Mombasa and run in a Wiper ticket. He is in the political oblivion and periphery, just as the former Kiambu governor, Ferdinand Waititu.
Right.
These people are trying to be relevant in politics. But I'm sure ODM has granted a direct ticket to Abdul Nasir, something like that,
Right.
in Mombasa,
Mombasa,
the
right.
former Mvita MP. And Sonko is going to battle with him. But I'm sure the Azimio candidate will trounce Mike Sonko.
Definitely.
This is because it is known that Mike Sonko is popular. We have no problem. But he is incompetent and a non-performer.
Right.
He was thrown out of Nairobi just because of those two issues. And he has accepted himself. He has confessed that it is my friends who misadvised me. Because if you are battling with the state in the Nairobi, then he was going the wrong direction.
Right.
So when he goes to Mombasa, I am sure the Mombasa electorate will rethink twice, because they know the track record of Mike Sonko. They will not at least give him to lead them.
All right.
Yeah.
So what is looking
So
at is, of course,
expect a mega defeat of the former Nairobi governor, who was recently banned from visiting to the United States.
right. Of course, that issue, him and his family as well,
that's it.
because of allegations of corruption and drug trafficking. You can check that out for yourself. As we still are on politics, there's trouble in Azimio, still on page 14, as we try and move from the Standard to the Daily Nation. And this, I think, will just put it together with what is on the headlines of the Daily Nation. There's trouble in Azimio as Kalonzo and some of his allies say that the coalition deal has changed. And of course, this trouble is coming from some of those political parties which are allied to the coalition. And they've now written to the registrar of political parties and saying that there was a breach in agreement. One of those breaches in agreement is that the Azimio Coalition Council, which is supposed to be having 11 members, is supposed to be having 7 members, was expanded to 11 members who are now taking care of their own personal interest. And this is according to Mr. One Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka. His party and the UDP have the ones who have written to the registrar of political parties, and they're objecting on the fact that three issues have not been agreed upon, and this is also including that issue of a running mate in that camp. The Kalonzo factor, which I've been asking many people who have done the newspaper review with me here, the Kalonzo factor, is it that significant in Azimio la Umoja? Because they've had this conversation since the year started. Kalonzo Musyoka, it's Kalonzo Musyoka since the days of One Kenya Alliance and the walkout with Mudavadi and DP Ruto, him joining and not joining and then rejoining again, and now, of course, writing to the registrar of political parties in I will say a political temperature or environment where I strongly believe that he might not actually be given that running mate chance this time round. What are your sentiments? And is the Kalonzo factor strong this time as it was a few years back?
Now, there are two major things rocking the so-called Azimio la Umoja coalition. The first one is the Kalonzo factor. The second one is disorganization, no strategy, and there is overambitious of members. Now, if we discuss a bit on the so-called Azimio, the main patron is just known publicly. He's the president, who is carrying some votes. This because if the champion or the captain is ODM leader by himself is a mobilizer. But when the president comes in with his perceived sins, you will realize the president has done a lot of mistakes. He will scare some votes from Azimio. The second one is there is disorganization. This is because the members, although the members are political heavyweights, but there are many in fringe parties who are overambitious and pushing their self-interest. The Kalonzo factor.
Right.
The Kamba kingpin first is facing challenges. In the Ukambani region, there are the 3 governors, the Alfred, Kivuda Kibwana, and Charity Ngilu, who are jealous of this man, especially when he joined Azimio.
Right, I'm seeing also Machakos Governor Mutua saying that he also needs his party to be recognized as one of the main pillars of Azimio la Umoja.
Yeah, recently you just had Alfred Mutua going back and forming called Mazompia, the Kalonzo factor.
Right.
Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka from Seikuru is becoming too conditional. He was brought into the movement just because of one reason, though he does not have sufficient numbers, but just to have that name that we have Kalonzo with a big wig. Now, this Kalonzo is coming up with the demands that you must name Azimio One Kenya. But the president is saying, no, this thing is Azimio movement. You know, ODM leader does not decide.
Right.
It is the president who make a lot of decisions. Now, then Kalonzo is told, no, we cannot form Azimio One Kenya. It will be not be a good name. Then this man, after joining, he retreats. He is called again, Kalonzo, why are you not in the campaigns? Then he says, I want the position of the running mate. Just not to end there, he goes to his home and mobilizes his troops, his lieutenants, to demand that he be granted the running mate position. Generally, Kalonzo is becoming over ambitious and too conditional, and that one will cause rocks, squabbles, and quagmire.
Will this hurt him, or will this hurt the Azimio la Umoja coalition?
It will hurt the Azimio la Umoja coalition because there are many members. But you are coming with demands. And also, don't forget that Azimio la Umoja had stated that our running mate position is preserved for the mountain, who have refused anyway to buy the agenda.
All right.
Yeah.
So claiming the mountain is still a factor.
It's still a factor. But though, when you do your own statistics, the mountain have refused to buy the Azimio la Umoja. And you have even seen the aspirants of Jubilee removing the name of Raila Odinga in their billboards and removing the R to mean inawezekana. Yeah. So that means the Raila factor, it can. In short, Raila hasn't climbed the mountain.
The mountain yet.
Yeah.
Between Raila and DP Ruto, who as now we head over to the Daily Nation, to other matters in the Daily Nation, between Raila and DP Ruto, who is going to climb the mountain faster and effectively in your analysis?
Yeah. Before I move to that, the best thing for Azimio la Umoja is to tell Kalonzo, either shape in or quit. Yeah. Because this man, anyway,
is going to cause trouble.
Is going to cause troubles.
Right.
Now, the mountain factor.
TikTok, they're calling it here on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation for the running mate, deadline for running mate looms, which of course people are saying for both sides, the running mate is likely to be picked from the Mount Kenya region. Must it be picked from the Mount Kenya region, and do you think they're going to do that, and who effectively will be climbing the mountain?
Now, the vote-rich Mount Kenya region has been known for the past years to be voting on one basket. Number two, their population is very high. Number three, these people focus more on economy. The deputy president managed to establish inroads, strong and unshakable inroads in the mountain. That is why he is claimed to be popular. And even the UDA party is popular in the mountain, just because of campaigns and all matter of things he did there. Now, the Azimio factor just came recently, claiming to be climbing the mountain. The people of Mount Kenya have been known to have a difference with the people of the lake.
Right.
So when you force the mountain and the lake to meet, yet the deputy president came as the first guest early in the morning, and you are coming late. My friend, be sure the food will be over.
You're saying
so the mountain has shifted
to get from the
Kenya
lake to the mountain, you have to move through the Rift Valley. You have to move through the valley.
That is it. And the DP is tactical and wise.
Right.
But Azimio, if they pick now the running mate from the mountain, they will not make any change because they are decided.
Okay.
These people seem to be decided. Now, the Kenya Kwanza is known that they have reserved their seat for the mountain. Possibly you have had people like, they have fronted people like Rigathi Gachagua, you have heard of Kimani Ichung'wah,
Kithure Kindiki.
you have heard of Kithure Kindiki,
Right.
and Ndindi Nyoro and Alice Wahome. If it will be a woman,
It has to go to Alice Wahome.
but not Justin Muturi who joined recently and those other people.
Right.
No, they're just coalition partners. But the running mate position is purposely reserved for the mountain. And in fact, when Mudavadi and Wetangula were joining, they were told, come in, but be sure this thing is preserved.
But we've heard of, for the past few weeks, of Mudavadi and his camp, of course, claiming that they came in headed for that running mate position. Will that affect their role or how they regard the Kenya Kwanza coalition?
Now, I know Kenya Kwanza coalition is a planned and organized team. That's why I said when Wetangula and Mudavadi were joining, they were told, welcome, yes, but know that this position is preserved.
Right.
Now, Cleophas Malala, senator, who claimed recently that it should be reserved for the Western region, I think you have not heard him recently talking of that thing.
He has not spoken much.
Yeah, just after when the balancing of nominations were done, you had they swapped whereby Boni Kalwale went for senator and Cleophas Malala went for governor. He was claiming the issue of running mate just to be detected as a strong person in Kenya Kwanza. But he was silenced
Right.
by being given the gubernatorial position.
Right.
But I'm sure he was not aware of what was cooking in the kitchen.
All right. So there's much more that's cooking behind the kitchen.
Yeah.
And we're expecting to see those names submitted. That is the presidential candidates and their running mates by 28th of April. So tune in to 28th of April, mark your calendars. That is when they are expected to submit their names together with those of their running mates to IEBC. So by the 28th, we should be knowing exactly what direction all the political aspirants are headed to, especially in that presidential race as we gear ourselves towards the elections in August of this
Maybe
year.
to add on something,
Yeah.
there are some factors to be considered when choosing a running mate.
Okay.
You cannot just wake up and choose a running mate. So there'll be, if you are popular, if you have the votes, if you are experienced, an expert, and a technician.
Right.
So
A
the-
technician.
yeah. So the
Especially.
factors. So when you look at Rigathi Gachagua and the rest, you realize that some fulfill, some at some percentage. Anyway,
Some areas
let's
they lack
wait for that
technical.
announcement.
Of course, the 28th. I hope we'll
Yeah.
be around here so that you can help us break it down
Yeah.
even further. Okay, so now here on the Daily Nation as well, April 14th, I have been saying this name, this date for quite a minute now, which is the date on Thursday this week when the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, will be reviewing the prices of fuel products. And the prices are expected to go up. You know, initially when I was reading this, I thought that the review will be looking to bring down the prices. But now, apparently, this is going to go up because of several issues. One is that subsidy, which was starting last year but was halted just a few months into it, and then they released the cash last week, President Uhuru Kenyatta signing that agreement. And but there's fuel shortage, as I've read through the traffic updates this morning and from what you've probably seen over the weekend. And this is a crisis that is happening all over the world. However, in Kenya, we are affected because of other issues. Other than the subsidy, other than the Ukraine-Russia crisis, there's also the hoarding of fuel by marketers, and the government or the authority that is the EPRA is saying that some of these marketers are hoarding and waiting for that time when the prices will go up so that they can release this fuel. So they are very confident that we do have reserves for this, but according to them, some of these suppliers are not releasing fuel.
Now, this happens when politics and economy mix up. The issue of oil crisis, our economy is bleeding. This one adds up to more challenges that are being faced by the economy. Now, the oil problem should not be associated first with the Russia-Ukraine war. Let's not associate the issue of oil with that one, because those are external things.
Okay.
The peers of petroleum said recently that oil reserves are full, oil tanks are full. Then the government is claiming we have not paid the debts, that is to the oil marketers.
Right.
Where were you? And we want to ask the government, if the government is really cares for the common person, why can it not run at its speed to solve this issue of the difference between the oil marketers and the government? Now, because if you look at it, obviously the government will claim we did not have funds,
Right, at the time to
of
release.
which will guarantee them take, because anyway our country is broke. The economy is almost at its knees. Now the issue is the common Kenyan is suffering. For example, yesterday when I was traveling, there was a big traffic snarl up in many petrol stations.
Definitely.
But if you look at the president, the politicians who are supposed to agitate for these issues, they are focusing on other things. Then they come and tell us it is the issue of Ukraine, Russian war. It is the issue of I don't know what. But if the government solves the issue with the oil marketers, then I'm sure oil will come to its former state. But if the government continue to delay by paying its debt, then the common man will continue lining up for the so-called, in quotes, gold.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, definitely, and that's true because I'm seeing here the marketers are also said to have increased their fuel supply to neighboring countries, and this is countries like Uganda, Rwanda, and DRC Congo to over 60% from the 40%, which is something that we should be having here. So this kind of skewed ratio in how they're supplying locally and out has enhanced that cut of supply to from neighboring countries as well, and also here. And Kenya Pipeline has said there's adequate stock. So
Yes.
we do need the government to step in with those subsidies. I know they have not yet paid the extra billions which were left. They had owed the marketers 13 billion, and April 4th they released 8.2 billion, which means there's a bit more of that subsidy that is left. And apart from straining the government finances, higher oil prices are also driving inflation upwards by 0.5 percentage point, and that is by last month, frustrating all of us. So we are expecting to suffer not only at the pump, but also in the household.
Yeah, the skyrocketed oil prices are majorly by the government. The government is delaying to pay the subsidies. Obviously, the oil marketers will have to. They can reclaim that money, which if they don't, they'll end up making losses.
Right.
And in business, when you make losses, then you are facing a downfall.
All right.
But they are running against time to ensure that they increase the prices so they can reclaim the losses.
Right.
But the blame still goes on the government. The urge still goes on the government to come with speed and finish their issue with these people, so that at least the oil will not continue being shortage in our country.
Okay, definitely. That is what is happening on matters of the fuel shortage. So expect the changes to happen this coming Thursday. Be looking out for that on page 4 of the Business Daily. And it's also there on the Daily Nation. And it's a story that you can get to read on page 8 of the Daily Nation. So take a look at that and give us your feedback. You were taking a look at the Star. Mimi nilikuwa naangalia Business Daily. Sijui kama kuna kitu Star pale imekufurahisha ambayo we can have a look at. Ruto's moment of truth as UDA is holding their primary. So the DP is walking into political tightrope as the allies square off in the big contest that are happening in the Mount Kenya and the Rift Valley strongholds. There's a story on the Star, page 4 and 5. And the DP has taken a different direction as compared to other parties like ODM, who have decided to do direct nominations for most of the tickets, or if not all of the tickets. The UDA, however, side, they are doing it bottom up. From every single seat, they are going to ensure that they are holding primary elections. Is this the best move? And is this Ruto's moment of truth?
Yeah, it's Ruto's moments of truth. But the question of the nomination headache, I'm going to look at it in two views, the Azimio and the Kenya Kwanza.
All right.
The first part is the Azimio. That is the ODM party. The ODM party is doing, I can term it a nonsensical thing, whereby you go to the electorate, you do some opinion polls, and then you bring the popular candidate and award a direct ticket. Remember, I said populism does not grant leadership. So if, for example, there was some rebels in Homa Bay where you picked Gladys Wanga, left out Evans Kidero, who wanted to go for an independent ticket, but the people rebelled. So the issue of ODM giving out direct tickets does not make sense at some point.
But what if they're trying to avoid the issues of violence which have been marred through their primaries previously?
Now you bring in the Kenya Kwanza. If you look at the deputy president, who I can describe as a magical wand, just as been described by the Standard, this man is using diplomatic and negotiation skills to consolidate the aspirants of his party. They negotiate. You saw the balancing of a question of Kakamega County. You saw the balancing of Nairobi County. You know I'm a mathematician, so I'll say y is equals to mx plus c.
Okay.
Where you balance Nairobi. Where you say Nairobi equals to Governor Sakaja plus Senator Wanjiru. And then you are told, step aside, there are many job opportunities in the for you. Obviously, they will have looked at who is the most popular. They will be avoiding expenses, chaos, and unnecessary violence. But in ODM, they are not employing diplomatic skills. That's why we have chaos and rebels.
All right.
The other thing in party primaries, the stronghold issue. Azimio has stronghold in the Nyanza region. So they are being advised to conduct nominations there. And the other parts where they are strong. The Kenya Kwanza has strongholds in the Rift Valley and the Mount Kenya. But they will have to balance some issues in Mount Kenya. But if, and the deputy president had claimed he will supervise the election, let him not do a shambolic nomination, whereby he gets himself engaged. When he gets himself engaged, he will excite chaos.
Right.
But if he stays away, everything will move smooth.
And that's true because in 2017, the DP was accused by Uhuru's allies of tampering with the Jubilee primaries, and this was in a deliberate move that was locking out strong Mount Kenya leaders. So, as you've said, participate, but also participate from a distance. So that doesn't look like you're
supervise, but stay away, distance yourself.
All right.
Now, the issue of looking out, even William Kabowe is a victim, but he's preparing to join Kenya Kwanza, or he has joined.
He has
Kenya
already
Kwanza.
joined Kenya Kwanza.
Now, the coming balancing is the one of Kiambu. The DP is working to balance the Kiambu issue. If Azimio employs the same skill and balance their strongholds or their nomination places, at least they will avoid a lot of things. Now, when you hear that the DP tampering with the 2017 issue, we don't want it to repeat itself in this time round. We want a peaceful country. We want verifiable and credible nominations.
Right. So I'm guessing the moment of truth here is that if he can successfully avert the 2017 Jubilee primary mistakes and also avoid the pitfalls of ODM, it will have become the moment of truth for him, a making moment.
Yeah, where he wants to change from the 2017 issue and make a great movement, a great move in terms of how you conduct party primaries. Okay. Because he's aware, and he once said that party primaries is a very important factor. That is why he had to abandon this, or not even abandon, but we can call it, put off his campaign trails and focus on nomination.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Raila is also flying to the US next week after primaries to get some diaspora votes. It's a story you can get on the Star, and is expected to meet a couple of Kenyans over in Washington, D.C. So that as all of them try to amass votes aggressively towards the 2022 general elections on August 8th. I think we've spoken much on elections and politics. I don't know if there's anything we've missed out.
I think that one of Raila flying to diaspora votes,
okay,
I want to advise his political strategist that, my friend, don't be copycats. Have your own strategy. Yeah. And then also, this
they're following you're saying that they're following the DP's diet.
Yeah, the time is running also. Focus on the votes in Kenya. Time is running.
Okay.
Generally, I want to advise Kenyans that as we head to the nominations and party primaries, please let us practice political tolerance. Let's have peaceful nominations, and remember that the first thing that important in this country is peace. Everything will be fine.
Everything will be fine.
Yeah.
That's a strong one. That's a strong one.
Yeah.
Let's try and finish up with this story here. The 3.5 million of Kenyans who are now hungry, and the number is rising. And this warning is coming from IGAD. And since there is a prediction that rains will fall in Eastern African region for the 4th consecutive season, looks like on page 2 of the Star. That's where you can get that story. And this is coming, of course, from yesterday, where Safaricom, in partnership with other of its organization members and people they collaborate with in some of these initiatives, launched a very good campaign called Pamoja Tungane, or is it Tungane Pamoja? Pamoja Tungane, or Tungane Pamoja, to amass Kenyans and donate food, hampers, cash towards Kenyans who are suffering because of this drought crisis that is happening in 23 counties, arid and semi-arid regions here in Kenya. This has happened for quite some time, since as long as I've been conscious in this country. Yes. We've had issues of famine and drought in most of these countries. Actually, same counties every single year. Can we find a permanent way to stitch this or to fix this totally, rather than just applying stitches? Actually, rather than applying stitches, can we fix it? Can we cure it?
Generally, we can, if, you know, when you ask every Kenyan, what is the problem with you? You will say, number one, higher food prices. Number two, you will talk of insecurity. That is the one coming from Baringo. Number three, he will talk of hunger caused by drought. You know, this thing has been always there.
It's a song.
But nobody has come up with a strong policy to curb this challenge of drought. It's not a problem, because problem is difficult to solve. But it's a challenge because you can solve it. You can think of irrigation. We have a ministry in charge of, I don't know, arid and semi-arid lands. What is it doing? Is it there to sit at the office and just get salaries without thinking of a strong policy? You can start irrigating farms. Egypt is the major producer of maize. But 98% is dry. These people are irrigating. But if we come to irrigation in Kenya, we will reduce the level of hunger. Because if Marsabit, Baringo, and Turkana continue complaining of hunger and drought,
they're going to do that every single year.
Every single year. But the government should not be focused on giving, I don't know, they call it what? Where they flag off, you see the president is flagging off, the CS is flagging off, I don't know, donations of foodstuffs. Even those donations, sometimes they don't reach those people.
They don't even get there.
They just they just stall on the way. But if the government come up with a strong policy where they can advise these people living in these areas that we are pumping water, just like Galana Kula irrigation, something. You heard of that thing.
Right.
But at some point there was issues of corruption.
Yeah. So we bring politics in.
Yeah, we bring politics in very strong and
pertinent issues
that are supposed to be worked on. So if we have a strong ministry who can come up with a strong policy to say that we can help these people who are facing hunger,
right?
Whether by irrigation, whether by I think the biggest thing they can do is irrigation. But when you continue complaining and not doing anything, then I think we are dancing or we are beating the guitar on the goat.
Right. It's funny because yesterday, as Safaricom was doing that donation, flagging off of donation, the ministry was there.
Yeah.
Government officials.
That is
very
joyriding on donations.
Joyriding on donations by a private firm.
Where are you? Yet the government is mandated to protect every Kenyan.
Yeah.
Not joyride on donations from Safaricom. Safaricom was good Samaritan.
And you're there cutting ribbons and flagging off donations of food.
You come claim here today, you write in social media today, we flagged off. You flagged off and take to Safaricom. That is the hypocrisy in our Kenyan leaders.
That's kind of
and I advise the Wanjiku and the rest to make the right choices this time round.
Right. Normal Mwananchi to think very keenly on where they place their votes. There was a story here I wanted us to finish on, which is taking kind of a turn from the conversations we've been having here. There's a chip. I don't know whether you've heard of this, and I'm avoiding treading on religious grounds, which is very tricky. But there's a chip, a microchip, that someone is making in the United Kingdom that can be used now. You can implant here, and then you can use it for payments. So you scan it like you do a card at a supermarket, or as you scan any other microchip on a card. So they're saying they're going to implant that. I don't know what you think about as I get it. Are we getting to 666, as some might want to claim? But apart from that, what do you feel about it as we try and wrap up now?
I think the young people, I like the way they are becoming very innovative. That they solve some challenges
that
are facing. They reduce the workload. So if you have that chip where you can scan and the payments are made, then you realize that Kenyans, or not Kenyans, but youths and the young people of the worldwide are very innovative, and they have fresh minds.
Yes.
If they are only given sufficient resources and a good space to do their innovations, they will do marvelous things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. This story is here in the middle of the Business Daily, and the implant can be used to pay for things everywhere. And there's someone here, a case study of someone who's been using it since 2019, a contactless payment microchip that is injected under the skin. And it was first implanted in a human back in 1998, so it's not something that is starting just now. And it weighs less than a gram, a little bigger than a grain of rice, and is comprised of tiny microchips and an antenna that is put there that is helping you to make some of those payments. You can read on this story a very big spread in the middle of the, it can be seen, the hand there. So a big spread here in the middle of the Business Daily story, an interesting story that you can read. Finally, as I let you read a quote here, we usually finish with a quote at the back of the Business Daily. But because you're at the back of the Business Daily, a lot is happening in sports as well, from abroad and locally here. Over the weekend, I was able to attend a very interesting match between Gor Mahia and Tusker FC, where the fans of Gor Mahia decried that the goal that was scored against them in the last minute, that was at 90+6, was not a fair goal. And the game was stopped just before stoppage time, which was like 2 minutes before the end of the game. The game was stopped, the goal was disallowed, and the game did not resume. That is how Gor Mahia fans were able to influence the game over the weekend. I don't know what happens over there at the Kenya Premier League and the officials, but I don't think that's the way we should be doing things, especially at a time when we are banned from FIFA, right? So think about that. However, FIFA is also coming to, they're doing a world tour. They're doing a tour of the World Cup. And it is hilarious to me that the World Cup is coming to Kenya to do that tour where people can come and see what the World Cup looks like, the trophy for the World Cup looks like. A country which is banned, which has just recently been banned by FIFA, and the president is going to be the only person in the country who is going to be allowed to touch it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to me. I don't know how you feel, how that communicates about the state of us and the way we handle things in such an nonchalant manner. We are banned from FIFA. We are doing very funny activities in terms of the caretaker committees which are heading the sports situation in the country, or the sports sector in the country. And we are having the president, as the one at the forefront of receiving FIFA in the country, without any likelihood of us addressing this issue of the FIFA ban.
I think the best term to call is a paradox, whereby the reputation of us Kenyans and the Kenya ourselves worldwide, it has changed. It has been degraded. That's why FIFA are claiming that there is a lot of disorganization in the Kenya Premier League, and there's a lot of issues affecting the KPL. But I think the president let him enjoy what he has been granted anyway, and let him. But Kenyans, as Kenyans, at least, not as Kenyans, but as the football fans, we need to urge these people to bring order in the FKF,
Right.
so that we can have good leadership who can lead these people. Because if you realize, when we have bad leadership, obviously, even the FIFA themselves, they saw it. There is a lot of issues here. So let us first solve our issues, then we can ask FIFA. In fact, the president should use that opportunity to request or apologize,
Right.
so that these issues can be solved.
Right. Coca-Cola Senior Marketing Manager for Kenya, Miriam Limo, who's also very involved in this experience, was asked this question on exactly how we are going to convince ourselves that we are having a FIFA trophy tour in Kenya despite the FIFA suspension. And what she said here, quoted in the Daily Nation, is that football is about the fans, and what we are offering is a fun experience. The rest of the matters are being worked on by other parties, and we hope for a solution. I do not take that statement from you. That is Miss Miriam Limo. I feel like we should not be skateboarding around issues. It's like going to a region that is marred by insecurity, and you're there parading the military and saying we are such a good nation with a strong military that is ensuring our borders are secure, and you're doing that parade in Baringo where there are insecurity issues. So we should not be skateboarding some of these issues. We should really be addressing pertinent issues. Now, to watch participants of watch, just an audience. When was the last time Kenya participated in World Cup? Right?
Just clap and you don't.
Just clap and move on, while others are participating in World Cup to win the trophy itself. So that is what is happening in the dailies. I know there's a lot we can speak on, but make sure you grab yourself your own copies. Now, tupatie maoni yako. Hayo ni maoni yetu. Do not crucify us. That's what we think as normal mwananchi.
Now, where you are saying do not clap,
right,
you are being advised that do not desire to fit in, but desire to bleed yourselves to
Let's say it again.
Do not desire to fit in, but desire to bleed yourselves to lead.
Right.
Not just singing.
Right.
Join the school, join the team, and participate. That is why my closing remarks are: we are on a mission. I am on a mission. You are on a mission. Make sure you work for your mission. Achieve your goals. Don't have the space to retreat, nor the luxury to surrender. Life is tough. Earth is hard, as they say. But make sure you don't retreat and you keep going.
All right.
Better days will come to you. Have a peaceful nominations. Let us scrutinize our leaders. We make sure we choose the right people, and our country at least will make a change.
All right.
I don't know if you allow me to be affiliated to any coalition.
Do it. Just because you're an opinion leader, a future politician, of course, with aspirations, you're okay to launch your ambitions as early as now.
Just as you had Daniel Moi did not attend any class of politics, but he was our professor in the political science. But William Ruto is marvelous student who seems to have scored towards even the level of PhD. But we have learned a lot in the Kenyan politics, and I want to advise the youth. We are the majority. Let's take our space. Let's agitate for our issues. Let's not be taken for a ride where you are being used in an election period. You just go and campaign. After the campaigns, you are abandoned. You are damned. Let us not be people to be carried. Let us realize our goals and our visions. Work for them or agitate for them. For I am sure this country, we are the majority. We can do it. Yes, we can.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Confidently and undoubtedly, that is opinion leader and political analyst, Kosgei Shadrack. Of course, a very good conversation we've had here. If you missed any bits of it, it's up there on Facebook. Roll back, usikie maoni kidogo kidogo pale, vile anasema, alafu na wewe pia utatuambia what you think about some of those pertinent issues we've had to take a look at here. Life is tough, earth is hard. Biashara Tuesday helps you make money so that you can have a soft life. Continue tweeting us, #Biashara Tuesday. I'll be back in a short while. Right. Biashara Tuesday. Na leo ninasema sana, but you're getting the point. It doesn't matter. The end justifies the means. So here I'm seeing comments from our Facebook page, that is KUTV Kenya, where we've been streaming live. Let me just read a few of those, and I'll start with mtoto wa Mariam. Anasema mabombe ni kina nani mwaiji? Mabombe tumerauka. Mafuta shida si bei, ni kudorora. Kupata mafuta ni sawa na kupata maziwa ya ngamia. Karibu tuende Turkana. Very interesting comment from mtoto wa Mariam. And of course giving us traffic updates pia ako Thika Road, anasema mbaya kiasi, ana hope kwingine kuko salama. Remember to catch mtoto wa Mariam here on Thursday morning on KUTV Rise Today. Makala ya TBT, anakuwa kijana mmoja amebobea sana kwa masuala ya politics, na party primaries is what the conversation will be on this week's show on Throwback Thursday. So make sure you're tuning in. Mtoto wa Mariam atakuwa hapa katika makala ya TBT na Kiswahili. I'm trying so much not to mess up the little Swahili I'm speaking here. Right, mtoto wa Mariam, asante sana. JKM, my first business agenda every Tuesday is tuning in to Biashara Tuesday, and so should be everyone's agenda. Biashara Tuesday, mambo ya biashara hapa, politics and technology, and how that is affecting our income generating activities. Mkenya daima, hizo general elections ndio gani tena Ukenye? Kwani tuko nchini? Did I really say in general? I don't think it's the one I messed, but ni sawa tu. Salimia sana Governor Waititu, baba yao ashaoga na akarudi soko. So that is a comment there from Kenya daima. Eman James, Uganda depends on Kenya for fuel. There is no shortage of fuel in Uganda. How can the supplier lack fuel when the dependent have it? Of course, as I read there on the Business Daily, the Kenya Pipeline confirm kwamba there's fuel, right? There's fuel. It's just that the guys who are holding it. That's bad. I don't know where the competitive authority comes in, but I feel like that should also be a matter they should be looking into. So EPRA is going to review the prices this Thursday. What's happening with Kushema? Thursday, review prices, EPRA. Make sure you're checking out that coming to you. Peter Ranking Photography, tuned in from Kasarani. Check him out. Asachi Ashley, it's Tuesday, and they definitely know it's a morning for #Biashara Tuesday. Following and listening keenly on the show live from Thika Road. On Twitter, I know a couple of guys pale wame tuned in and already sending me their feedback. Let me just access that real quick. So on Twitter, where I am at Richard_Kenya, and the hashtag that we've been using is the #Biashara Tuesday. Guys who've been tuning in, I'm just giving a very quick shout out to them. And I'm seeing here Mzee Edlens pale interacting with us on the tweets. Musioka Muasia from Juja, from J-Town, I'm tuned in to the show. Alvin Oleleyan, all the way from Utah in the United States, streaming live through Facebook, and I'm a comment through Twitter on the #Biashara Tuesday. I'm seeing also here a couple of other guys abroad. Donaldo Jakujwang, as always, asante sana for tuning in from Turkey. And Stevie Mwanza anasema ako hapo from Juja. Hey, watu wa Juja, asante sana for tuning in. That's as much as I could read here, but sadly we are now not going to do the show all the way to 10 in the morning. We'll be interrupting this with another interesting bit that you'll be tuning into shortly, and that is the International Conference on Health Promotion. This is a conference that is happening in the Kenyatta University grounds, courtesy of the School of Public Health and Applied Human Sciences, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. As you can see on the screen, the chief guest will be Her Excellency Margaret Kenyatta, the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya. She'll be there at the Kenyatta University Amphitheater, an event that is starting at 9 in a few. So in a few, this event is going to kickstart, and they're going to address that issue of promoting health during and beyond COVID-19. Remember, we are still in COVID-19, and we've been focusing majorly here on this show on matters of economy. How are we bouncing back? How are we making money? Inflation rates, mambo kama hayo. But in this conference, health-wise, how are we doing? How are we recovering? The guys who recovered from COVID-19, what is the way forward? How do we navigate this epidemiological transition I got that correct. In this epidemiological transition, how are you going to navigate future epidemics such as the COVID-19 and other issues that arise around that? So that is a conference you should be tuning in for. And if you're on Thika Road or in the vicinity of Kenyatta University, make sure una pop in there to get some of those nuggets. That's as much as we could have here this morning of Biashara Tuesday, the 12th of April 2022. Remember to tune in to the rest of the show on KUTV Rise today. From Wednesday, we have Nina Gikunda on WCW. Thursday, Mtoto wa Mariam TBT. Friday, Emperor Shaker, DJ Nitspin on Friday's Entertainment Friday morning here. Mambo ya burudani, team weekendi before you go on over to the weekend. On social media, interact with me at Richard_Kenya, and that's how I finish the show this day. Remember, if you want to have breakfast in bed, just try and sleep in the kitchen. See ya.
Hey girl, it's been a minute since we kicked it.
And it's about time they ought to know who the sick is.
That's me.
That's you.
That's you.
That's me.
K. Jones be my